Thank you. I appreciate that introduction. Dignitaries, faculty, students, families, graduating doctors of physical therapy. Thanks for allowing me to be here today. I am incredibly humbled to be on this campus. See, I love Elon University, and I'm going to tell you, I don't take those words lightly. I've had the privilege of being here 3 or 4 times to teach in the transition DPT program, and you can't spend time on this campus without seeing the purpose, passion, beauty, and a commitment to excellence in learning. But my exposure to Elon doesn't end there, you see. I've worked with many of the faculty, as she has mentioned, and your entire faculty is just the tops in the profession. All things being equal, I prefer to hire Elon graduates. All things not being equal, I'm still going to hire the Elon graduate. And if that is enough, I won't embarrass or date myself or any of your instructors, but I will tell you that I once did a 4-week clinical under her tutelage, and it wasn't Dr. Freund. And as I look, I see the parents, I see a lot of smiles out there. They look to be almost special kind of smiles. Something tells me it's not just for the pride of the children and grandchildren's graduation either. It appears to be combined with the thankfulness that the next tuition bill won't be coming. It's a smile that I hope to have one day, but I have 1 kid in college and 2 on the way, so I'm going to be cutting checks for a while. As I thought about what I would say today, I had the benefit of the passage of time, about 25 years worth. You see, an example isn't always meaningful when it's being exemplified. It takes the passage of time to appreciate, understand, and to be able to become a teachable moment. But let me tell you how powerful teachable moments are. They're a collision where an experience and an unforgettable lesson come together, and in one fall swoop, it changes your perspective, your modus operandi. You will never be the same. See, I was reminded by something that happened to me very early in my career. I was a young military physical therapist, and I was attending my first physical therapy conference. I was excited, nervous energy, chance to meet legends and the leaders of our profession, and I was oh so vulnerable. The atmosphere, you see, could not have been any more conflicted. In one session, I heard how bad and negative things were in the environment of physical therapy. Direct access was not happening in Medicare. There were arbitrary limits from payers. Healthcare changes were on the horizon. Intense regulatory environment. And you couldn't spend as much time with patients as you wanted to. But see, I then went on to the exhibit hall and met perhaps the first professional mentor in my life. He described the exciting opportunities. Specialization was just being born. The supply-demand curve of physical therapy was yet being reached. Private practices opportunities were abundant. Business opportunities were happening every day, and PT was becoming a household name. You see, in your career, you're going to be forever challenged by naysayers who don't see opportunities amongst clutter, where obstacles are unsolvable challenges. You see, right now, we still don't have Medicare direct access. Healthcare changes are on the horizon. Arbitrary limits are occurring in payers. Intense regulatory environment, and you still can't spend enough time with your patients. But we also have the graying of America, cost effectiveness of PT, physical therapy as the best choice in musculoskeletal medicine, research and outcome data to support the efficacy of what we do. And if that isn't enough, last year alone there were 4 major motion pictures that had physical therapists in it, one in which starred Queen Latifah. You see, $1,000 gets you a whole lot more through physical therapy than you get by spending it on an MRI. You see, you have drugs, imaging, surgery, but then you have us. Elon grads, you are entering this profession at the best time in history, period, end of story. But as you enter this best time, I wanted to share 3 items with you that I hope you'll carry with you, elements of teachable moments that I have experienced. One is your real test, 2, your source of joy, and 3, the heroes in front of you. First, the real test. While you may think you're done with your test, papers, and exams, you're not. I know that you realize that first you're going to have to take the state board in whatever state you choose to practice. But what you may not know is that the purpose of state boards is probably not what you think. It's a way to ensure the public that you're safe. That's all it is. You will sweat, spend dollars on prep exams, and probably have sleepless nights, all in the name of making you safe to the public. The reality, though, is that on a professional basis, that license is your most important asset. Don't take it for granted. Protect it with your life. But do realize that your next progression is specialization in residency. As Elon grads, don't settle on mediocrity. You take the 5% road less traveled, and you're going to find you're going to be the leaders that will make that road mainstream. But you know, there's a greater test. It's not the one talked about, but it is the one most important test you will ever face. And unfortunately, you have to take it every time you get a new patient. It's called the likability test. You see, patients don't care really how much you know. They don't care about your state board safe test. They just simply won't listen to you unless you pass the likability test. Part of the likability test is how friendly and caring you are. In over 100,000 return patient loyalty surveys, and as well as published research on patient satisfaction, the #1 driver of outcome is how friendly or caring and patient that you are. It's one of the many indoctrination courses that we teach in our company, because what I've found is not many students take a course in friendly and caring. I'm confident that Elon and your employer will teach you evidence-based practice and the technical components of success in manual therapy and otherwise that will put the odds in your favor towards a clinical successful outcome. But unless you pass this likability test, your clinical skills are altogether meaningless from my perspective. I'm paraphrasing here, but I believe it was Maya Angelou that said, patients won't remember your name. They won't remember where they met you, but they will remember the way you made them feel. Elon, doctors of physical therapy, you be friendly and caring, and your success in patient care is assured because you have passed the likability test. The second really is to remember your mojo. Simply stated, your source of joy. Why you really do what you do because of what you do. The reward is the task of doing. You impact lives, you make a difference, you restore life. Soon you're going to get your first job, benefits, and responsibilities. And then you're going to get bills, a lot of them. At your job, you're going to see all kinds of externalities, guidelines, policies, procedures, rules, insurance company restrictions, approval processes, incentive plans, productivity requirements, coding, Medicare's new thing. These instrumental factors, if you let them, can rob you of your mojo or what you love to do. It can absolutely be a killjoy to the point where you're no longer doing it for the reason that it drove you to you. The true joy of doing what you do is simply what you do. The reward is the task of doing physical therapy. After last January's devastating earthquake in Haiti, we decided to expand our physical therapy operations. You see, our business strategy, my strategy is always to be opportunistic when it comes to the needs of physical therapy. We didn't care that there was no profit motive in Haiti. What we knew was there were thousands of amputees, traumatic orthopedic injuries, compounded with the traditional needs medically that they have in Haiti. And we worked with some collaborating organizations in the Southeast to find and fund the development clinic Jacques Mel Rehabilitation in the Southeast. It's staffed by local Haitians that we train, an American PT who's there on a rotating 6-month basis, volunteers in our organizations that we send down there, as well as hundreds of PTs and occupational therapists that have accessed our clinic through pthelpforhaiti.org. We have a simple model that we tell our PT volunteers. We don't want your money. We don't want your supplies. We want your time. We want your excellence. We want your mastery. We want your experience. Our clinic is simply a tent, and it's a place where PTs, without the oppression of regulations, work with the most oppressed. No money is exchanged. No insurance is filed. And there's an interesting thing that happens along the way. The PTs learn. They become all too familiar with an Aborigine quote that says, "If you came to help me, you're wasting your time. But if your liberation is bound with mine, then let us work together." And they do. PTs come to lend a hand, but they find that the therapy is bidirectional. The reward is the task of doing what you do. The boundaries and limitations that they have become all too used to in America are released. They work hard and they transform and they leave invigorated, simply because they found their mojo. Doing what they do is why they do it. That's the joy. That's the reward. Elon, doctors of physical therapy, when externalities make you forget why you do what you do, throw yourself in a volunteer medical service mission, an environment where the one thing that stands is you and your patient, and you will find that you both need each other in more ways than just the obvious. So we have the likability test, your source of joy, and my last teachable moment is simply to put your heroes in front of you. I think in addition to your parents and other influences in your life, that many of your heroes going forward are going to be your patients. Put them in front, bold and center. Put them in your workplace, pictures of them, lots of them. Add to them daily. Several years ago, I visited a rehab hospital up in New Jersey where the late Christopher Reeves, the most visible and famous actor of our time, he was Superman, went through his rehab. You see, this tragic accident that left him a quadriplegic, he wasn't concerned about movies and acting. He was concerned about living, and per his autobiography entitled Still Me, he even fought the very will to live. I'm going to tell you, it's a great thing he did, because the legacy of the Reeves Foundation has enabled groundbreaking neural research in spinal cord injuries. We're getting closer. In June 1995, Reeves was taken to Kessler Rehab Hospital. And this was during the time when patients who were on ventilator-dependent machines didn't leave acute hospitals. They were pioneers. And he was literally at his disposal for disconnecting tubes at all times, the mercy of nurses who would connect him and save his life. And as you can imagine, the most difficult part of rehabilitation is the ability to breathe. You see, it takes about 750 cc's of oxygen to do so, and Christopher Reeves had 0. But he did have a physical therapist, and his physical therapist, named Jessica, did a couple things every step of the way. She knew his inherent will to live, coupled with his competitive instincts, and then she applied science. And she knew that that accessory muscle called the trapezius, with a little bit of electric stim, could get him more cc's than 0. Within a few days, he was at 50 cc's, and it inspired him. By the next day, he was literally up to 200. He reached 560 cc's within a few weeks. The physical therapist said, "I've never seen progress like this. Chris, you're going to win. You are going to make it. You're going to get off this thing." You see, a talented, friendly, caring physical therapist was at his side. On December 13th, 1995, Reeves was able to breathe without a respirator for 30 minutes, enabling his ultimate freedom from a ventilator. There's a picture that sits atop Jessica's workstation. Yes, it's got a beaming Christopher Reeve and his late wife, but superimposed is an old-fashioned stopwatch, fixed at 30 minutes and 15 seconds. Jessica told me she looks at that thing every day, And it reminds me that's why I became a physical therapist. New PTs, you put your heroes in front of you, and you keep a file of your patients' notes. They can't be replaced, and their inspiration will carry your career in the most meaningful ways, and you will never forget. That's why I became a physical therapist. Pass the likability test with every patient. Remember the joy of doing what you do is in fact the reward for what you do, and put your heroes in front of you. Congratulations, Elon graduates. Now go on to the best profession at the best time and gain teachable moments you'll pass on to the next generation of doctors of physical therapy. Thank you.